I'm going to give my own disclaimer. There is, I wouldn't say, yeah, language disclaimer, violence disclaimer, and probably disclaimer, especially if you get offended by seeing a lot of like DV type of related stuff. I mean, it's obviously something that can be shown on YouTube, so I'm not trying to scare you off, but it's gonna piss off a lot of y'all. Just a heads up, okay? I'm just say that for sure. But for some of you guys that don't recognize some of the people in this video clip right now, obviously you guys know who Josh Block is and who Mr. Bass is in here. The guy with the blue Bills hat, that is Nick White. If that name sounds familiar, it should be, because his name was mentioned in the paperwork when we had gone over the incident report having to do with what's his face? We were just talking about him, Action Man's case. Remember, we were able to get through a FOIA request, we were able to get the police incident report. It was redacted to hell, but there was still a little bit of information on there, and I was able to share all that with you. Like I said, I'm always, as transparent as I can be with anything I have. So as we were reading the report together, we had seen that one of the people of interest, doesn't mean that he was arrested or he's being charged with anything. Okay, it's just a person of interest. Okay, was Nick White. So if that name sounds familiar, we have talked about him before. Also, he is a streamer that's right now currently on Kick. He hangs out with Ice Poseidon. He's one of his buddies, or recently, I guess you could say. I know he goes through a lot of different friends, but I know he was kind of got a little bit of his fame kind of just associating himself with Ice recently. And I'm sure he's got a lot of backstory prior to that, but I don't know him anymore other than just where I've seen him with Ice and just recently in some of his other Kick streams and clips. The young lady there, okay, I obviously they refer to her name in the, I don't know if that's her real name and don't care, in the video. I don't know what it is on the top of my head, but what I have heard is she used to be, or could be, possibly still is, was a Action Man groupie. Okay, so I guess a lot of people have already seen this girl around because she used to hang around Action Man a lot. And apparently, based on what Mr. Bass, I think, said, and maybe you guys didn't catch this or he hasn't said it yet, who you don't see in this view is this girl's boyfriend, who's apparently sitting in the same room as all these people watching all this happen, okay? So I know there's a lot of people that'll say, oh, this was all scripted. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. What I think is offending a lot of people, and what I personally think what was done wrong, was the part, and I don't know if it's happened yet, so I'll keep my mouth shut because I don't want to spoil it. But actually, I won't say anything till the end because I don't think it got to that part yet. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it hasn't. But and I know there's a lot of other parts, and I know people I've already seen in chat already kind of discussed it with some of the other things they've seen. Which, if you can see Mr. Bass on the side here, something you can see he's obviously doing is he speaks for a lot of these individuals. You notice he says a lot like, "Oh yeah, just you could say yeah, say yes." He tells people what to do or say. Well, that's wrong. Okay, you can't speak for somebody else, especially if you're asking for somebody to do something that may be a little inappropriate or is inappropriate. Now, another thing to keep in mind is there's a YouTube stream going on right now, as well as clip streams going on. So you've got Nick White. That, I guess, reason Nick White's here was later on in this clip, you find out that I guess he was just in New York City and everybody's been collaborating with Josh. I don't know if you guys saw the video recently, and it was actually pretty fucking funny. Was Josh just did a recent collaboration with Danny Duncan. For some of you that don't know who Danny Duncan is, he's a big YouTuber, does a lot of other stuff, but mainly got his fame off of YouTube and other shit. But he does a lot of prank and funny video shit. I personally like Danny Duncan and like watching his show. But he invited Josh Block over. Doesn't really know him, just invited him for a weekend of fun, and it was a really good collaboration. So Josh is starting to kind of come up in the YouTube world, and he's apparently lost a collaboration because of what happened here, what you're going to watch with another big Kick streamer named Aiden Ross, who apparently was going to pay him, or allegedly pay him, $35,000 to do a collaboration stream with them. So, which I'm sure the way Josh is with him and his money, I'm sure he's pretty bummed about losing that, if that's really what ended up happening, that deal. But either way, the reason I bring that up is, and you'll see, this got, apparently what happens in this video, whether it was one part, many parts, or something not specific or specific, apparently two of these Kick streamers, Josh, who's new to Kick. I guess, he's a big TikToker, which for him, I guess TikTok was banned, but now is back in place for 60 days. So as long as TikTok doesn't go away, he should be okay. But I think the reason he jumped over to Kick was he was afraid that TikTok was going to be permanently banned and he needed a new platform. So obviously he's been streaming on YouTube with Mr. Bass, but most recently started a Kick channel. Well, that got shut down, and so did Nick White's channel. So both Kick streamers that were there this night streaming, Kick as a platform felt what they did was against their own terms of service, and obviously punished them by. I know Nick White, I think, got a suspension, so a time suspension, like a 1-month suspension. I'm not sure what ended up happening with Mr. Josh here, but either way, just want to give you guys a little bit backstory as to who some of these characters were in case you didn't recognize any of them, and just a little context. So here we go. So sure, they keep asking this young lady if it was consensual, and pretty much, in my opinion, it's like a forceful yes. But the point I'm trying to make is when I said the comment, everything got real uncomfortable real quick. Look at everybody's body language, including the young lady, her eyes and her face. Okay, she knows she's on stream. Like I said, she's been around these live streams before, so she understands that there's an audience watching. Okay, which again, I don't want to get into the whole legality of what's consensual, what's not. That's not where I think things can start getting, I don't know the word I'm trying to say, legal. Okay. You may have already seen something that you feel, isn't appropriate enough that, if this young lady did decide to press some type of charges, that this clip in its entirety would be enough evidence to, proceed with either Josh or Mr. Bass or any of the individuals that she feels the charges should be pressed against, would be brought forth, into court. I don't agree with a lot of things going on, but when you talk about what you're going to be if you put yourself, like I said, best thing to do is put yourself like if you were a jury member, right? And you pretty much, they're saying, well, we're going to play you a clip, but your job is not to draw your own opinion, but to decide based on whatever charge it is that was charged, that based on what you see meets the standards of that charge. And they read out to you what those conditions are and what is to be, met. And if pretty much each one of those standards is met, then that should mean that you should be that person should be found guilty. If now, if say there's 3 standards and even just one of those standards, say 2 of them are met and just one isn't, that's when they tell them the instructions to the jury are, then that person should be found not guilty. Okay, they failed to meet all 3 of the standards that are put forth on depending on the charge, to prove that person's guilty or not. All right. So, in the court of law at this point, do I think my personal opinion would anything be found? I think you're pushing some of the legal limits, but in court of law, I don't think so at this point. I'm going to pause when I think it gets to that point.
What if someone took my passport?
Josh, I took your passport.
No, you didn't.
What are you gonna do about it?
She hid them between her tits.
How
Look
did
at 'em.
you know where
They're
I
in there.
am?
They're in between her tits. She
And I
took
figured
them.
it out.
You stole my passport?
Spit all of my
Did you
things.
steal my passport?
Ow, 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 ow.
Did you steal my
Ow,
passport?
ow, ow, ow.
Give me my
No,
passport.
no violence, Josh. No.
Give me my passport.
Oh God.
Did you steal my
Fuck,
passport?
you're strong as fuck.
Did you steal my passport?
Holy shit, you're so strong.
You would know she was kidding. She was totally kidding.
Do you understand sarcasm?
Oh God. Did you think you were maybe getting beaten up for?
But somebody had said that this young lady now is possibly, and again, this is all allegations at this point, is possibly pressing charges. I feel that if it really is, if this was the truth, I feel that what you just witnessed with him putting her in that headlock is going to be the part where he's going to face an assault charge. If that really was the case, and it was, if she is, that's the case, she's really doing that, as we speak, or has already, pressed the charges, which again, all allegations until I can confirm any of that at this point. but that's where I believe is where the assault would allegedly be charged with, where he could allegedly be charged with a charge of assault would be from that headlock right there that he put that young lady in. You can see clearly that she, had a, obviously she wasn't comfortable with it. She yells for him to stop. She complains that it hurt. She even makes a reference to how strong he was, and you can tell just by her body language and her face that she doesn't seem too happy with the incident afterwards. Okay. Again, was that scripted? Who knows? My opinion, I don't think it was. I definitely wasn't comfortable with seeing the whole, beginning of the clip, and that's not the type of shit that I watch. But when it comes to legality of things, I think this is the part where if somebody's going to get in trouble, is going to be Josh, and it's going to be from, you know, possibly this, this incident right here that we just watched. And Mikey's Bag of Meat says, in fairness, Josh doesn't usually crash down until someone deliberately provokes him. Well, I mean, he's also been fed a lot of alcohol, and that's, you can't blame that. His actions are his actions, and he's responsible for them. Okay. But clearly, you can tell that Josh obviously, I don't know his, his whole, as far as his, and I don't care, quite frankly, what, his history of his health conditions are, if he has any. But it has been alleged that he's, that he does have autism. And obviously, he suffers from alcoholism. It's alleged that he drinks every day or every night, excuse me, is what he says in Danny Duncan's collaboration stream. Is not during the day, he drinks at night. But obviously we see how he gets when he drinks, especially when he's hanging out with people that instigate him, like Mr. Bates. I don't know if a lot of you have seen, that there's now a crowd of people that stand in front of Mr. Bates' apartment sometimes waiting for Josh when they know he's there. And obviously they do, because they're watching the live stream. And they purposely wait for him to come out, knowing that they can instigate him. That's the running joke amongst the crowd, is to instigate him. And what does he do? He runs up to people and he'll attack them. And for the most part, it's a joke, but you're going to get that person that's not going to either take it as a joke, or B, they're going to do it as a joke. He's going to attack them, and then maybe the next day they're not happy with it because it went viral. The video makes them look stupid. There's a bunch of comments they don't like. And then they decide later on that day to press charges, whether they instigated it or not. If it's on there and it's an assault charge in the eyes of the police or the court, it is what it is, So he's definitely needs to be careful of what he does, because of the fact, if he can't control himself for whatever reason, he obviously shouldn't be out hanging out with people that, don't give, pretty much two shits about him. And obviously are there just to leech off of him for either clout or money. Okay. That's what even Nick White was saying. And there's a portion, we're not going to get there. And that's, like I said, why I shared the link to the clip. So if you guys want to watch the whole clip, I encourage you to do. But at the end of the clip, there's this part where Nick White makes a call to Ice Poseidon and is talking about what happened. And he even states, Ice asks him, what were you doing with that Mr. Bass guy and the Josh dude? They're not good dudes. Like, this is Ice speaking, but it's my opinion. And Nick White replies to him that, oh, I was just there for one day, and everybody's collaborating. I seen everybody collaborating with this Josh Block guy. I don't even think he's even knew much about Josh Block. And so I just, decided to go over there and collaborate, which just equals to, I wanted to leech views and money off of the guy. All right. So, and obviously he found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time, probably. I'm not speaking on his behalf. I don't know his character, but, as somebody said in a comment, he could have walked out of that room at any time if he didn't feel comfortable. So he decided to stay. So he knows what's going on, and he lost his channel, according to what he said on this call with Ice. And I guess it was permaban, but then they changed it to a suspension, a 30-day suspension, which maybe had something to do with Ice being his friend. Who knows? But either way, like I said, he can blame it on, it's just a one-day thing, but he could have walked out of there at any time. Which, if it was me personally, and I was just showing up there, and then it's didn't know what was to expect, right? I didn't know this was going to happen, and all of a sudden this shit starts going down. I'm out the door. What do I owe these people? Nothing. You know what I mean? See ya. So he decided to stay. Now, has anything come from this? No, not that I've heard of. Will something come from this? Who knows? I'll keep you guys updated. I'll keep my eye on it. But certainly, I feel that there is obviously a part on this clip that if that young lady decided to press charges against Josh specifically, that I think obviously would be enough evidence for the police to make an arrest and warrant the arrest, excuse me, and this go to now court again if it went that route. Okay, again, I'm not alleging anything happened at this point, but I will keep my eye on this case, or not case, on the incident, and see if anything arises from it. So. Oh, okay. So I just got a DM from some Shinery with a link to a clip. I'm going to share this with you. Guess it says 20 hours ago, hitting a fan asking for a pic. So it looks like Josh didn't learn anything from even this incident, and has already, I guess, assaulted a fan. So I'll give you an example. Let me see if I can bring up this. It looks like it's a Reddit post. Hold on. Here, one more time. See, and that's what they do. Okay, that's the running joke, is they instigate him with this. They put the fries in the bag, and he always, supposedly for whatever reason, it pisses him off, and he does stuff like this. Like I said, some of these people might, they do that and instigate him because they're fine with that. Okay, it's part of the act. They're cool with it. But you could get somebody that right there, if they feel that they're threatened by him doing that, and they end up knocking him out. They have technically, even though they're the ones instigating them, based on what you're watching on the, the video clip, that's what, that's what's going to be shown in court to the cops. And, Josh is probably not going to be able to press charges because he's the one, and even maybe the other guy that started it is able to press charges, and he's the one that started it. You follow me? And again, just because he's instigating him, then you have people, for the most part, I've never seen anybody hit Josh back. Okay, they just let him hit them. For the most part, everybody's fine with it. But I'm saying there's going to be that one time somebody's going to either instigate him to purposely try to hurt him, like I said, get him to hit them, and then it's fair game for them to knock him out, or they're going to do it purposely to get him in trouble. All right, because no matter what the escalation of it was, as long as there's physical contact from one person that's unwanted to another, that's assault, regardless if they were doing put the fries in the bag, put the fries in the bag, put the fries in the bag. You still can't go up to somebody and sock them. So here we go. One more time. God.
Whoa. I don't get paid enough for that shit. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, bro?
So, like I said, whoa, bring that mic back here. It's my opinion. I honestly don't think he's hanging out with the right crowd. Obviously, the guy's got some celebrity status, and he wants to make a career from it, and he's interested in making money from it. So I think where he's find himself now, he's certainly not with the right people if that's what he wants to do, if he wants to make this a career. And you got to remember something, and again, I'm just speaking not from my experience. I'm not even anything close to a fucking social media celebrity, all right? But from what I watched from these YouTube celebrities, is they usually have a short expiration date, okay? Meaning that people usually get tired or bored of the individual, or their content dries out, right? So, you've seen people, and there's some that don't. There's some guys that have been doing this for 10 years plus that are millionaires and keep doing it, okay? But for the most part, there's a lot of people that, they got a 1-2 year run and that's it. So, if that's going to be it, you got to make as much out of it as you can. And I think right now, Josh is wasting a lot of his time hanging around with people that basically are just using him to try to make money. And I saw a lot of comments that were made that people feel that this was probably even done intentionally, and allegedly, as far as Mr. Bass setting up possibly Josh, and possibly getting him in some trouble, knowing that if his channel gets blocked, that pretty much all he has is a YouTube option, and TikTok, and it seems that Mr. Bass has put himself in as his manager for those platforms, and if he can control the money situation more, or pretty much Josh, excuse me, he controls the money situation. You follow me? So I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we obviously see in these clips, and it's upsetting. I personally don't agree with a lot of the stuff. One that I saw happening with this young lady. Like I said, although I may not agree with it, doesn't mean it's illegal. But I think there is a part that we just witnessed on that clip that if that young lady does want to press some charges, I think that certainly it's enough evidence to have some type of assault or battery charged, filed against whom obviously you saw putting her in the headlock, which was Josh. So again, I haven't heard anything come from this. These are all just allegations as far as what I'm saying when I'm sharing, what I've heard in the comments that I've seen. The comments I did see, but as far as what the comments are alleging are all allegations. Like, okay, so until we obviously are able to pull up a case number on here, it's all just hearsay. But you guys want to catch the rest of that clip, I did already include the link to Papa Greeny's channel, and more specifically to that clip exactly. Again, shout out to Papa Greeny Nation for putting out that clip. And that was all I had to share with you guys on that. Like I said, nobody's, no, there's no court coverage yet on that, because obviously there's not been any court cases or court excuse me, charges filed, and there may not be any. Okay, but either way, I thought it was pretty interesting, and I had a lot of people that had contact me in regards to that and asked me if I'd seen it, if I was going to talk about it, and I said, sure, absolutely, we can definitely show it and talk about it. So, put the fries in the bag, says Fox the Bala. And again, I don't know the whole lore about Josh. I've just been recently following him because of the recent Mr. Bass coverage that we did, and obviously he's pretty much, when I started covering Mr. Bass, Josh was kind of visiting every once in a while, but it seems lately, like I said, he's pretty much, I don't know if he's officially hired him as a manager, or Mr. Bass just kind of, has unofficially made himself a manager. But whatever the case is, it sure does seem like Josh spends a lot of time with this individual. And like I said, in my opinion, I don't think it's the best for him. And I don't agree. I don't think at his age, and I mean, I was his age too. I know how it gets with the drinking, but for where he's at and the opportunities he has, and I get it. I know the drinking, like Blade, has a lot to do with his whole character and stuff, but I think he could do it still. If that's his thing, if he wants to, that's his schlick, fine. But I think he can do it just a little bit more responsibly, or at least have somebody that's going to babysit him that actually cares for his own, well-being, and not the